Hi, I'm Georgia. Thanks for joining me again. Today I'm going to be using some acrylic paints, 3 different colours on a background of pale blue, which is Fimo, and I think there are scrap bits. I mean, you can see that there's some blue in that. So the colours I'm using, that's an Arteza, and the colour is Sapphire blue, in case that's not in focus. DecoArt Americana in gentle heather, lovely pink, and this, which is a great lifting colour, is the DecoArt in white pearl. So what I do is I just take a little bit. This is quite a thick paint, so as you can see it's not coming out of the bottle that easily. So I put in a bit of blue down there and just choosing different colours. I'll spread it out a little bit so that it covers a little bit more in a thinner layer on the nail dipper, or dauber possibly you'd call it. All right, and then for the next colour, which I think is going to be the heather, I put that on top of the blue and once again spread it out a little bit. When you watch these back, you don't realise how slowly you do things. And right on cue, my dog wanted to go out, so I've just had to let her out. And then the last of the 3 colours is the metallic one. I use this one quite a bit, as you'll probably see by the bottle. It's quite a lot of paint on there. So put that through. And then I decided that I would do alternate colours on another pile. So I've put the heather, the gentle heather, down first. Spread that across. These silicone brushes are great because you can just wipe everything off. Then put a bit of blue on. And it's still thick in that bottle. Possibly there's a little bit too much of that. It will overpower. Yes, there is. I'm taking some off. I recorded this a while ago and I can't remember what I did, to be honest. It's all coming back to me as I'm watching this through now. So move that over and then go in with that lovely silvery white shade at the top. I'm taking some of that off as well. You actually don't need a lot of paint when you do this technique. Now that's the little nail dauber that I'm using. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they have a silicone tip on them, which actually, excuse me, which actually comes out every now and again, but it's easy to clean. So I've just dipped it into the first little selection of colours and I'm trialing it out on a piece of paper. I want obviously all the colours to show through. As you can see, some of them are quite a lot and some of them not so much. So wipe that off, and that's the great part about that. As I said before, with silicone, you can just keep it nice and clean. And there the little top comes out, so I've pushed that back in again and off we go. I'm going to just do random dots all over the polymer clay. And that looks quite pretty. I cover the whole sheet with that. Now you have to be careful because sometimes you will get too much of some colour. So you need to be able to, as you can see, I'm thinking that there. Yeah, that's far too much blue. I need to get some of the pink in. So just decide as it comes out. And every time you press down on that little nail dauber, the colours come out slightly different. So the paint is quite thick as well as I'm putting a layer on. And I'll just go in and try and fill in the little gaps that I've missed. It's quite satisfying doing this. As I say, you'd never actually know what the pattern's going to come out until you press it down on the clay. And it doesn't take long to do either. And it's not that messy, so that's always a bonus. Now I think I decide that I need a bit more pink in some of the places. Yes, I did. So just add a little bit more. And then you can put it in, mix it in a bit there so it is not just a stark pink colour. You've softened it up a little bit. I'm doing a mixture there, and just go back and dab it in all the places that you think it needs it. Now I'm quite surprised with this because I do use Fimo polymer clay, and Fimo is notoriously bad for liquids. It gets very tacky and sticky, especially if you put water on it. It doesn't like water at all. But even with the amount of paint that I'm piling on here, it was fine, absolutely fine. Obviously it will take a little while to dry because there is so much paint on there. But there's also a nice texture to it too. But I do, at the end, I do put resin on, and that brings out all the colours. There, a little bit more silver just to lift that up again. And that silver, when you see that through resin, that looks very, very pretty. Blend it in with the paint that you've got there already. Otherwise you will just end up with blotches of white. Although that's not bad. I think I put a bit too much on that, and it's come out okay. Who'd have thought we'd be using nail equipment to be with polymer clay? There's so many things that you can do with nail art, all the little things. You get transfers and that, and you can use all of that on polymer clay. And that's quite a nice look, I think. It's almost, I don't know what to call it, whether you'd call it, it's almost like a watercolour meets marble, that type of look to me. Very difficult one to explain. And then clean everything off, keep it all nice and tidy. I should maybe have speeded this up a bit. This I'm sure you love watching me clean the tile off. I wish you could see what the rest of the table looks like. Okay, so I've obviously let that dry now, moving it into position. And I'm going to start cutting out. Now, this first cutter, to me, it's very dramatic. And to me, it should be dramatic colours. But somebody had asked me for soft, as they refer to it, as summer shades that they would like in a lightning bolt cutter. So this is why I'm doing it. and they actually turned out very pretty, and I think she was right all along. I use a little acrylic block to push down, and obviously that's a little bit harder because it's got all the layers of paint on it. Okay, oh, now I've decided to speed it up a bit. So there you go, and obviously using as much of the clay as I can with other shapes. I get my cutters from all over. I get from Amazon, off of Etsy. I do use Timo, and I do use AliExpress, Panda Hall. Obviously not for cutters, they don't do cutters. Right, and then I've gone back in and just laid the shape over again because that makes the cutting through so much cleaner. And then the usual part, cleaning it off as much as I can before baking it. Now, I was pleased with the way these turned out for such a nice, simple technique. And I will bake these for an hour at Fimo's recommended temperature, which is 110 degrees. I haven't edged these either. I know you can. You could put paint on the edges there, or even a Posca pen, something like that. But to me, they looked fine once I'd put the resin on them. And these are what they look like. If you've enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. That would be brilliant. Thank you very much for spending time with me. Bye.